Yes, ma'am.
Hi. How are you?
It just came out of the restroom as you saw. I hope you're okay too.
Yes. Yeah, I'm doing well. Just working away. How are things going?
So in my history class, I will have the second midterm this week because the history department changed I mean, I'm not sure if it's a few years ago or I believe it is recently, and the department requires us to have two midterms, which doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, I don't know why, because it's the only department I heard that requires two midterms. So around 2 weeks ago I already had midterm one, and then now I'm having midterm two. So
Wow. Yeah, that's wild.
oh, about our literature midterm, um I because I take learning seriously, I was attempting to get in and know which ones I got incorrect, but then it doesn't mark. You set up the setting as not viewable, not visible to students.
Okay, let me look at that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Yes, because
Let me see.
knowing that the deadline already passed, I thought there wouldn't be any cheating issue.
Okay, yeah, I should have changed it. Thank you for telling me about that. I normally have that setting changed already, but yeah, yes, that is now. You should be able to see all the questions with feedback and stuff.
Thank you. I will take a look at it later. And another question I have is please don't misinterpret me. I take integrity seriously. So like I'm not asking for answers, but I just did not get where in the book exactly did you get the word hybrid?
Yeah, good question. It is from. Let me see. Actually, it might be good to just use the PDF to find it instead of looking manually. So Nyasha calls herself a hybrid at one point, which I think is an interesting. Let's see, hybrid. No, of course, this one's not searchable. Let me open the OCR one. Yeah, so at one point, Nyasha refers to herself as hybrid. Hybrid. Here we go.
So yesterday I listened to chapter 5, chapter 6, and chapter 7 separately multiple times just to find the word hybrid.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, it's on page 79. It's right at the beginning of chapter 5. So it's when Nyasha is talking to Tambu and she's saying, they shouldn't have gone to England. So she says we shouldn't have gone, Yasha was saying, looking disheartened. The parents ought to have packed us off home. They should have, lots of people did that. Maybe that would have been best for them at least, because now they're stuck with hybrids for children, and they don't like it. They don't like it at all. It offends them. They think we do it on purpose, so it offends them, and I don't know what to do about it, Tambu. I don't. I can't help having been there and grown into the me that has been there, but it offends them. I offend them. Really, it's very difficult. So that's on page 79, and she's sort of talking about how, like, having spent 5 years in England, she, as a child, she sort of adopted a lot of their customs and became, and sort of learned a lot of things and became the person that she is, that now sort of offends her parents. And we sort of see that throughout the novel about how, she gets in arguments with her dad because she refuses to be compliant, right? Like she wants to sort of make her own decisions. So like basically what she means by that is that she, was born in Zimbabwe, like is African, but also spent, 5 years of her very formative years in England, and thus is, has taken on a lot of those characteristics and feels, kind of like stuck in between. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Oops.
Ooh, yay. Exciting.
So hopefully my final essay is visible to you.
Yes, I can see it.
Yes. Like I said last week, I'm going to work on this and then other things as well. So I guess it's been a while since I submitted to you. So would you like me to resend this?
Sure, yeah. I have the copy you sent earlier open, but if you have made a lot of changes, go ahead and resend it so I can have it on my end too.
Yes, because screen sharing, it doesn't scroll down all unless I go one by one. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
I just realized I didn't directly hear from you about how you felt about my, creative topic.
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
words.
I really like it. I think it's great.
Mhm.
I think it's like a little bit more about textual analysis, which is good. You've done a lot of sort of like you're talking about, you've done a lot of sort of feminist analysis, but this is more sort of about the actual stuff that's going on in the text, right? Like the plot, like the characters, which I think is really great. Yes, I think this is good. Also, the second discussion post for nervous conditions kind of touches on some of this because it's about binaries. So there are a lot of presentations of binaries in the novel, and also like explorations of how to kind of disrupt those binaries. So like a binary between like white and black, or a binary between English and African, male and female, even like urban and rural, right? So there's like a lot of discussion of those. So like when we were talking before about Nayasha, right, how feeling like she's a hybrid, she sort of really disrupts that binary that is established by other characters in the novel, like her father, of sort of English versus African, right? The differences there. So yeah, I think that, yeah, bottom line is I think this is great, and I think it's good to sort of be thinking in different ways.
Thank you. I'm glad I did not need to add something to my prompt. That's what I was checking.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And I think, yeah, like you're doing some good thinking here.
So after intro paragraph, my first body paragraph begins with the plight of African individual is often a tragic one, as evidenced by the experiences of Nihamo.
Yeah, Namo.
Yes, Namo. Because I never lived in Africa, as you can tell, just like most of the other folks in our class, when I confront these African names, I sometimes have no idea. Like they're so some names are also long and
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just give your best guess. That's all. I mean, that's I sort of try to look them up and do my best, but I probably get some of them wrong too. So,
yes.
Yeah. Okay, I got your essay. It finally came through on my email, so I have it on my end too. Good. Okay.
Take your time.
Yeah. So I was just the first paragraph I think makes sense. You're talking about how like Namo got to go to school, right? But then like the quote you present is sort of like, Tambu is kind of, I think, being a little tongue in cheek here, right? That like their parents, like a lot of specifically rural parents, like Namu and Tambu's parents, like don't really value education very much, right? They're sort of more about like working, right? Like working on their farms and stuff. So like they're not, putting their kids in school early. Like they wait a while to put them in school, and then there's also fees. So a lot of families can't pay for all their kids to go to school, right? Which is why Namu is the only one to go to school for a while until Tambu has to like sell her, raise corn and sell it, right? Like that's the only way she gets to go to school at the beginning of the novel. Yes, so I think that makes sense.
So in after which sentence should I add about rural thing that you just said?
Let's see. I think right after the quote, or after the sentence right after the quote. Either one of those.
African parents, especially rural parents, devalue children's school attendance.
Cool, good.
Am I correct that for each paragraph there should be the last sentence should wrap up or close?
Yes. Yeah. So a good way to do that, a good way to end a paragraph to sort of wrap it all up, is to tie the idea of the paragraph back to your thesis statement in some way. So your thesis statement is that Africans are stereotyped while whites are privileged, and together these factors demonstrate that inequalities are not a matter of choice, right?
Yes.
So, relating the specific idea in the paragraph to the idea that these inequalities are not a matter of choice, right? Yeah, so that's a good way to sort of wrap up each paragraph. Yeah, that makes sense. In the next paragraph, I think most of it looks really good. The only thing that I might work on is after the second quote in the paragraph. So you bring in, I understood that selling vegetables was not a lucrative business. I understood that there was not enough money for my fees. Yes, I did understand why I could not go back to school, but I loved going to school and I was good at it. I might sort of sit with that for a little bit longer, right? Like, tell us why would you bring that? So you say it raises an ethical question of whether schools can continue taking money away from needy children. And then you say this lets the audience reminisce when Bonaventure did not see his departure to England as a huge privilege. The first point makes sense, right? How school is expensive and that sucks. But then the second point, I'm not connect that for me. The quote that you brought in and how Bonaventure did not see his departure to England as a privilege.
Sorry. If I'm understanding you correctly, you are talking about the misconnection between
the quote and then the sentence after the quote.
Oh.
Yeah. So connect those two things for me a little bit.
Yes. Starting from this hence raises an ethical question, and then this lets the audience reminisce when Bonaventure.
Yeah, I might just in between the quote and the final sentence of that paragraph, explain the quote a little bit more to your reader.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's how I would sort of tackle that. Okay, good. So then, how do we get from there to the sentence about Bonaventure, right? This lets the audience reminisce. So are you saying, okay, Tambu sees this as a privilege, but her uncle doesn't? So yeah, that connection I feel like is, I'm not sure how you get from one to the other, if that makes sense.
Yes, I'm thinking about it right now.
Okay, yeah, take your time.
Yes, I just added including Tambo in that sentence I wrote. I think the book was saying that because Baba Mukuru is both highly educated and wealthy, he might be blind to his own opportunities. Like he doesn't see them as opportunities.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I think you can. I think you can sort of say exactly that. That was phrased really well. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
The surrounding context was that educational background.
Okay. Yeah. That. Okay. That makes sense. I think that definitely helps. Definitely helps.
And then to add the last sentence, we can say oh. The first sentence started with, regardless of how African characters endeavor to pull themselves out of monetary hardship, the discrepancy between the affluent and the needy would continually diverge.
Yes. Good.
So to the last sentence should be just rephrased in
Yeah, I might say something like the differences between Bamakuru's situation and like Tambu's situation make it clear that these discrepancies will continue to impact their lives or something like that, right? Like, so yeah, so you're connecting the specific situation that you're talking about in the novel with this larger theme of inequality. So the next paragraph, I think really what's missing here is the connection between gender and how gender is a factor in privilege and disadvantage, right? Like gender is, like you sort of talk about it in the next paragraph, but I think you could sort of end this short paragraph by connecting, like by saying explicitly, like gender is a factor when it comes to relative privilege, right? Yeah.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah, because then that would like help transition to the next paragraph where you're talking about the intersection of race and gender.
Yes, I totally agree that this paragraph, the same page from blah blah blah, this paragraph itself was too short, so I need to expand.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that you can do that fairly easily by just making the connection between gender and inequality or like relative privilege really clear.
Can you cook books and feed them to your husband? Stay at home with your mother. Learn to cook and clean. Grow vegetables.
Good, yeah. Right, and I like that you describe these things as behaviors that define femininity, right? That's good. That's good. So, yeah. Then, so the one, yeah, I think that that's actually fine. So like the upcoming paragraph, I think like brings in some really good points, especially about how like Tambu's mom is sort of, her mother like conforms more to these traditional aspects of femininity that you outline in like with that quote in the previous paragraph. But then Tambu and my guru are kind of resisting those stereotypes. Yeah. Which you mentioned, right, when you sort of bring the quote, my mother said being a woman was a burden because you had to bear children and look after them and husband, but I did not think this was true. Tambu regarded my guru as her role model, knowing that my guru was intentional about not conforming to what others think she as a woman should do. So, yeah, I think here again, you know, how does this sort of connect to your overall point of the paper about, like, relative privilege? Like, these two characters are really sort of pushing against these stereotypes, right? They're trying to, I don't know, not follow these traditions, right? So, like, how does that change me see. I'm gonna go back to the pieces here. Right. So like the inequalities are not a matter of choice. So like how does that's the question. How does these two characters rebelling against the stereotypes of their gender, how does that connect to inequalities as not being a matter of choice? Does that question make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
Okay.
I'm clear with what you're saying.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I am not always clear with what I'm saying, so.
To be quite honest, there wasn't a time I did not understand what you were saying because all the things, your written and verbal communication always made sense to me. So.
Excellent. That makes me happy. I'm happy to hear that.
Consequently, Tambo and My Guru are two characters who definitions of femininity. Oops.
Okay, cool. So, good. So you're saying that, these two characters are jettisoning traditional definitions of femininity, which shows that they, know how much it takes to, try to, you say, prescribe egalitarianism, to, actually sort of be treated as equal to their male counterparts, right? Which, yeah, I think that works really well. Good. Excellent thinking.
So say as their male what?
Counterpart. Really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of the next paragraph, I think I would actually split it into two paragraphs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have nice analysis on how, on sexism in terms of appearance. So you've got the first couple of quotes that work really well, but then the highlighted quote at the end of the paragraph, I think is a different. Where is it?
Sorry, I'm confused because we just talked about ending with male counterparts in when gender and race intersect, and then I think you skipped one paragraph.
Yeah, that's the paragraph we're talking about, the social hierarchy.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wait.
There are two social hierarchy. That's what I'm saying. So first one. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, I did skip one. You're very right. You're very right.
No worries.
Yeah.
So the first one is hence social hierarchy has persisted for generations and cannot vanish overnight.
Yep, good. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I think, yeah, and I actually think the last sentence of that paragraph sort of connects back to the overall idea fairly well. Yeah, I think that paragraph's fine.
Households, and this connects back to the thesis that qualities in various aspects of life.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think that makes sense. So you're saying...
Relationship.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Oops.
Cool. So I will probably need to head out really soon. We have actually like tree trimmers coming today. And they're like sitting in the driveway right now. That's why I keep like looking over to see if the guy has come out of his truck yet. But yes. So yeah, for this sentence, the only thing I would change in terms of like grammar is the very end. Like instead of saying relationships in this case, I would say in this case relationships.
Oh yes, makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's in this case relationships.
Yes, your sentence has a better flow.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I will probably have to hop off soon because I think another truck just arrived.
Yes, no worries.
But what I can do is, I think I will sort of look through the essay, the remainder of the essay, and like write little notes about my recommendations in an email, and I'll send that to you within the next like half hour, and then hopefully we can meet again either tomorrow or the beginning of next week to chat about other stuff.
Yes.
Okay with you.
Yes, and that's very okay with me. So is tomorrow 11 a.m. still not booked up by another student?
Yep, that's good. That's still open.
Yes, I will take it then.
Awesome.
Thank you.